Hello. So today I'm here with Elise. How are you doing, Elise?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. So we are in the middle of the Nutcracker craze, and we are here in the back room at Soma, keeping it real, getting you a podcast. Here we go. So where are you from, and what brought you here, Elise?
I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, but last year I moved to Bowling Green, and Trevor found out and invited me to come teach at Soma. I couldn't say no.
And that's correct. What's your artistic background?
I grew up in a studio in Louisville. I started when I was 5 doing tumbling and hip hop, which is hilarious to me because that is not my skill set now at all. But eventually I added on tap, ballet, jazz, and modern. And then I went to WKU, got my BA in dance with a minor in arts administration.
What draws you to work here at Soma specifically?
I find that the kids here are so great to work with. They're hungry to learn and they're eager to try new things. And they make it such a welcoming environment for me to step into.
Aw, I love my kiddos. What's a piece of advice that you would give young artists today?
I think the biggest thing is to not be afraid to try something new. There's a lot of times in a dance class where your teacher will ask you to do something that feels wrong or silly, and sometimes it doesn't work, but sometimes you find you have new talents and you discover new things in yourself, and I think that's really special.
Yes, and I have, teaching dance for this long and this many years, seen like when kids are not as scared to be, vulnerable and act silly, they're usually those students that progress faster.
Absolutely.
And it's so true, not being scared to just, do something that might seem silly. So what or who influences your style of teaching the most?
I had 3 very different and very good teachers growing up. They were Miss Ellen Edwards, Miss Laura Woods, and Miss Teresa Bautista. Each of them brought something different to the table. None of their classes were ever the same. But what I learned from them was that it's really good to be yourself as a teacher and not try to be someone else, because the knowledge I have and the skills that I have will serve my students in their own way, instead of me trying to serve the students the way Trevor does or the way Tori does. I have my own perspective.
Yeah, that is so wonderful. And each person brings their own gift to the classroom. Even in college, we had several different professors, and I feel like from each professor, we kind of gained a little bit of something different. So that's so cool. If you could have a dinner with one artist, living or dead, who would it be and what would you talk about?
Oh man, this is such a big question, but the first person that comes to mind is actually Michael Jackson.
Ooh.
Exactly. After he passed, I went and saw the video of the rehearsals for his last tour, and I was so inspired. I had never seen jazz dance. I'd never seen jazz dance quite like that. So I think I'd love to pick his brain about, how involved he was in the choreographic process, because I know a lot of it was him, but he had help too, and just to hear how he worked with his background dancers and how his music influenced his movement.
I love that. We actually just did a Thriller flash mob on the square downtown Glasgow. So serendipitous that you're bringing up MJ these days. What's been inspiring you recently, whether it is a book, a TV, a podcast, a movie, game, art, etc.?
I am super inspired by the people in my life. I recently had the opportunity to choreograph the musical at WKU.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was a really strange and exciting time. I feel like I learned a lot, but I learned a lot because the students there were so eager to play with me and give me feedback. They knew it was my first rodeo, and they weren't afraid to tell me when things weren't working. And they weren't afraid to play, and I was inspired a lot by them. A lot of the choreography was me saying, hey, this is the idea I want. Give me something, and they were able to feed off of that. And I think that's typically where my inspiration comes from.
Yeah, I just love when you have dancers who are willing to go on the journey with you.
Yes.
And aren't just standing there with blank eyeballs.
Yeah,
so.
I can come with stuff prepared to the table, but it's never the same as if I say, well, here's what I want. Can you add something to it?
Well, thank you so much for joining us here today on this little mini podcast series, Elise.
You're welcome,
and
Trevor.
I hope you have a great night.
You too. Have a good one.